Welcome back to Digging In, where we explore how to leave significant impact on the youth and young adults that we work hard to teach. Welcome to Digging In. We're hoping to provide you with a couple resources throughout the entire school year starting now that will help you be more effective in the classroom and feel the satisfaction that the Lord desires you to feel. We're going to begin with preparing spiritually, and this first clip is simply about praying and how we ought to pray when we are seminary and institute teachers. Watch how President Eyring moves us from just praying about a class to actually praying about individuals and individual needs. I have learned, like you probably have, that we can ask individual questions, very specific questions, and that the Lord will answer them in His time, and often very quickly when it comes to His children. Take a look.
When I taught early morning seminary in the early years of my marriage and the first years of a new job, my prayers for the help of the Spirit focused on what seemed to me the difficulty of meeting conflicting demands. I felt challenged by the new obligations I had assumed. Under these pressures, and in my inexperience, when I prayed about my seminary teaching was usually to ask for the Spirit to show me how to teach the class. I prayed over the teaching materials. I prayed over the scriptures. I recognize now that the only individual I prayed for at first was myself. The class I prayed for was only faces and a few names. I had 9 or 10 students before me, even on a good day. Yet I didn't at first pray to discern the needs of individuals. I simply pled for the Spirit to come into that classroom so that all of us, a teacher and students, could be taught. I still remember the chill in the gray dawn as the students came through the classroom door. To me, they looked tired. I looked into their eyes and I saw a little response and a high likelihood of them going to sleep. I hoped that they couldn't see in my face the growing anxiety I felt in those first weeks. Answers to my prayers for the Spirit to come into our class seemed not to come. From that feeling of failure came a painful but lasting lesson. Despite my prayers and efforts, 2 young men in that class walked past me each morning without speaking on their way to the back row of chairs in the classroom. The chairs were movable. They chose adjoining chairs and so turned them so that I could not see their faces, nor could they see mine. I still remember the backs of their letter jackets. They never disrupted. In fact, they never spoke that I recall. I realize now what an opportunity that created for the class and for me. I prayed and I worked harder. And my prayers grew more intense for the 2 boys whose backs I watched as I taught. I learned all I could about them. I prayed for them individually and by name. I prayed for their parents, whom I came to know. As I look back now, I realize that the Spirit answered my prayers by increasing my love for those 2 boys and my desire to reach them. But more than that, my concern for them ignited a personal concern for their classmates. I began to teach them and pray for each as individuals. The Spirit came into the classroom. I learned that for me, there is greater power in praying for a child of God than for a group of them. It was years before I learned other lessons from those days in that seminary class. One of those 2 boys, now a father, approached me after a stake conference. He had grown older and balder, and so had I. He was smiling with his hand on the shoulder of a handsome son, about the age his father was when he was in my seminary class. He said to me, "I just wanted my son to have the opportunity to meet you." From his warm smile, the happiness in his voice, and his son's wide-eyed look of admiration, I knew my prayers of long before had been answered.
I invite you to be very specific in your prayers. Pray for specific gifts that will help you serve your students best. Pray that you'll be able to have the gift of discernment so that you can know what to do when they are before you and know what to do with individuals, not just with a large group of people. I invite you to pray verbally with your words, not just your thoughts. That helps me focus, and I'm sure it's the same with you. I invite you to get a list of your students as soon as you can and have them before you and pray for them individually, not just as a group, but each one individually, and pray for the gift of discernment. Father in heaven will answer prayers concerning individuals. Thanks, brothers and sisters. See you next time.